Chapter 6. I First Felt It. Friday, 3 days later, I headed up to Detroit again to spend time with Jay. I hadn't slept at all after the conversation with Iowa Girl. That conversation lasted into early Friday morning. The thoughts of seeing Jay pushed my suicidal mentality to the back burner. We picked another restaurant from which to order food. We picked another hotel in a different part of the Detroit metro area to share a room for the day. We again shared magic together for many hours, making more videos together to document the experience. Much later that night, Jay asked me to take her back to her house. That time, though, she was staying at her dad's place. His house was in central Detroit, within the boundaries of the city proper. I dropped Jay off at her dad's house. That weird feeling which I experienced the first night was back in my head, but I pushed it aside. Our days together continued with that pattern. We would order food from a new restaurant each time and find a new hotel in the Detroit area. Some nights, I attended to other business after I dropped Jay off. Some mornings, I picked her up again and we went to eat somewhere. One night, after dropping Jay at her dad's house, I had almost made it back home. It was cold and snowing. The roads were slick as I drove on the highway through Toledo. On one of the overpasses, before the bridge over the Maumee River, a pickup truck suddenly spun out at 60 miles an hour a few hundred yards ahead. The pickup took out two cars in the lanes to its left, on its way to slamming into the cement dividers on the far left shoulder. I managed to brake just in time to stop, only feet from impact with the driver's side of the pickup. I, being me, recorded a video. The video suddenly became much more intense as I saw a tractor-trailer appear in all of my mirrors at once. I heard the constant blare of the truck's horn as the semi barreled towards the rear of my car. As I watched, holding my phone as it recorded, I was frozen. I had no time. Had there been time to react, there was a smashed pickup truck directly a few feet in front of me. The lanes to the right of the pickup had three other incapacitated and smashed up cars. Car parts were littered from one side of the highway to the other, and on the left side of my car was a cement barricade. I remained frozen as the giant semi somehow managed to swerve at the last possible second. The Doppler effect of the horn as the 18-wheeler careened by me, inches from smashing me to pieces, was deafening. As quickly as it all happened, I was suddenly out of immediate danger. I let out a breath I didn't realize I had been holding. I sent Jay the video as I regained my composure. I told her in the following text how close I had been to death just then. About a half hour passed, and I was back home when I received Jay's reply. Glad you're okay, talk to you soon. I fell in love with Jay quickly, but I couldn't shake that nagging feeling that something was off. I stayed overnight in the Detroit area on nights when I planned to see her the next morning. She was always pleasant, her mood was always positive. I learned from her to be easy, as she would say. I picked Jay up on a cold and snowy morning, and we went to eat and hang out at a coffee shop for a few hours. We cuddled by a fireplace and talked. She knew I felt something wasn't right. I had brought it up to her. For the first and only time, Jay's happy-go-lucky facade broke. Suddenly confused, I saw tears fall from her beautiful eyes. I pulled her close to me. What's wrong? I hate what I'm doing to you. Jay's hitched words came through as she cried. I don't understand. Jay cried for a few more minutes as I held her to my body. Don't cry. I want to protect you from anything bad. I wish I could take your sadness as my own. I kissed her forehead. Jay gripped me back tightly in response. The moment passed. Soon it was as if Jay had never been sad at all. She was her beautiful, happy, bubbly self again. I remained confused for a moment longer. We left the coffee shop, and I dropped her off at her dad's house that afternoon. We both had other obligations that day. I parked my car on the street a few houses down from my destination that afternoon. Colfax Street was in a rather uninviting area of southwest Detroit. I walked from a few houses down the street. I knocked on the front door. I was, according to my transgender prostitute friend, the only person she trusted to hang out in her living room. She let me in, and I sat down on a couch on the main floor. I knew she had company, both upstairs and down in her basement. That day, I didn't sit long. My friend needed a ride down the street. She put on her coat, and I stood up again. We walked out the door and to my car. I turned from Colfax Street. My friend directed me toward Gratiot. The two of us ended up on a side street, parked just shy of a cross street. 2 car lengths ahead, parked perpendicular at the cross street junction, was a police car with an officer sitting inside. The street where I parked was a one-way. I had parked on the left. As the officer watched from his cruiser, or maybe he wasn't paying attention, a car with a chameleon paint job and completely blacked out windows pulled up on the passenger side of my car. My friend's window went down. So did the driver's window of the chameleon car, but only enough for a hand to reach out. All I saw of whomever was in the car next to me was a hand, taking money from my friend's hand and reaching back out to give her a little bag. If the police officer had seen the transaction, which I couldn't imagine he hadn't, he didn't make a single effort to acknowledge either of our cars. Soon the two of us were back on Colfax. Once back inside the house, my friend cleared out the basement for me. I was tired. I wanted to rest, but I put a plan into action. My friend only likes snow, but her clients often requested ice cream. That was where I came in. Anytime you have a client looking to party, stop down here to see me. I'll make it happen. It was an easy gig, at least so far during the daytime. I spent the rest of that week kicking back in the basement during the daytime while my friend rotated her clients through her home. Frequently, she would text me a specific number. I would put that much in a little bag. She would come down with a client's money and make the exchange. The whole scene at that house was different when I arrived late night one night after leaving my friend Kevin's apartment in Downriver. I had a backpack on me that night. In it, a metal pipe and a kilogram of meth which I had picked up earlier that afternoon. A weird series of feelings washed over me as I was suddenly standing alone in that basement. Who was that second group of people who walked in the front door earlier and hurried upstairs? How many guys had come up from the basement before my friend directed me to go down there? How many people had I glimpsed for brief seconds during that hour while I was still sitting in the living room of that house deep in the inner city of southwest Detroit that night? The 2.2 pounds of crystal methamphetamine in my backpack seemed to weigh me down to the floor. The steel pipe next to the drugs on my back suddenly seemed too light, nothing more than a toy, a wiffle ball bat. A moment before, I found myself standing there alone in that basement in Detroit. My friend had given me less of a request and more of a direction. I need to take a friend down the street to score a rock. Be right here when I get back. I heard the front door close on the ground floor above me as people walked out. There was then just one pressing and pervasive thought in my mind, overruling all else. Run. Fortunately, when I ran up from the basement and out the back door in the middle of the night, I still had all of my belongings on me. I also still had my health. I ran through neighboring backyards to my car. I texted my friend as I sped away. Sorry, an emergency came up. I had to hit the road. Let me know later if you happen to need anything.